Hopefully you can see the big glacier up there. It's a classic tropical glacier because we are at that kind of latitudes, and what we're sampling today is this moraine, this glacial deposit in front of me, where there are a number of boulders, and those will be the ones that we will be collecting about half a kilo of rock to be sent to Australia in order to extract the exposure age of these rocks, and therefore the time when that big glacier was much bigger and was coming all the way to this valley and deposited this beautiful lateral frontal moraine. Today we are back to Pariacaca and try to sample the oldest moraine that we were able to identify. We have identified a number of good boulders, and we're now moving on to sample this. We hope that this could be as old as maybe the glaciation previous to the last one, so maybe 125 to 100,000 years ago. In a situation like this, it's interesting to see that not only we have the morphology that helps us understanding that this was deposited, this ridge here on the side was deposited by glacier, but we also have what we call the lithology, the rock type. All around us we have outcropping of limestone on both sides of the valley, but on this ridge we find granite, which is a completely different type of rock. We find conglomerate, and none of this is available from the side of the valley, which means these have been transported a long way. Now their size, their relatively lack of roundness, it's a clear indication that no other agent but a glacier must have been able to transport these big boulders and deposit them over here. So we have the morphology telling us that this was a moraine, a glacier deposit, but we also have the lithology, the rock type. So we just finished sample this boulder to the left, which we think and hope will be very old because we are on the shoulder of a glacial valley, so we think it could be last glacial maximum, so called. And Brice and Lucy are actually doing a measurement of what we call the topographic shielding. In other words, because the age that we measure on the samples is dependent on the amount of cosmic ray that it hit the boulder, it's important to make sure that the boulder is not shielded by the topography around us. In this particular case, as you can probably see, there's very little topography higher than us, so the shielding is minimum. Okay, this is our last day of fieldwork. We just crossed the river. This is a massive glacial deposit, probably the last advance in this new valley that we're exploring today, not far from San Matteo. Okay, we're now back to Lima, ready to fly to Aberdeen tonight. We collected some 60 samples, which is very exciting. They will now be sent to Australia, and where they will be processed to find out what age those samples have, how long ago those now disappeared glaciers deposited those moraines, those glacial deposits. It's a bit strange to be back to a big city with a lot of tourists, lots of commodities, and yeah, it's a bit of a different Peru than the one we experience up in the mountains, but it's time to go back indeed.